We want to say thank you to our sponsors, Watchman Cigars, Operation Decisive Victory, Webmerized, and Red Hill Brewing. Without you, this episode would not be possible. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast, where it's our take on life, liberty, and the pursuit of gravy, while you, the listener, are invited to come up on the front porch, grab a beverage, and set a spell. We've got a great show lined up for you, as always. But before we begin, let me introduce you to our starting lineup, the best 3-on-3 basketball team you've ever seen in your entire life. We've got Magic Man playing shooting guard today. He mans the chats, the Facebook Live, the video streams, all of that stuff, and shooting a respectable 3. What up, Magic Man?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Our center is going to be Brian, producer Brian. He will guard everything. He blocks the rim and does all that he can to keep those folks from scoring. It's our producer Brian.
Yeah, I'm the 5-second violation, like, constantly, so just say.
And you like to foul, evidently.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that.
I have a tendency to double dribble.
Oh, that works on the court and off the court for you, Magic Man.
Yeah.
And then I'd be, of course, your point guard, your illustrious co-host, Biggun, and how about you? Again, we've got a great show. Our special guest tonight is Gwen Traversy. She is with Lutheran Services for Children, and she's going to tell her story about being a foster kid and a parent. And so you'll want to stay on the show for that. But before we begin, let producer Brian tell us where you can find us on all of our socials.
Yes, we are on the Facebook as Southern Fried Philosophy, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at SFP Radio. We're on YouTube, but don't make me do it. But we're on YouTube also.
Yep.
You can always email the show, sfpradio@gmail.com. If you want to support us, use our Patreon link, patreon.com/SFP Radio. And we're streaming on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and the TuneIn app.
Yep. Again, we're going to ask you that if you would like to help support the show, one thing we really need you to do, we don't have any money to do, these advertising and all that kind of stuff. So marketing, whatnot. So please just, tell your friends about it. We would really appreciate that. Any episode that you like, please just, rate it, review it, subscribe to all of us on all of those socials. That would help us out as well. It'll help us move up in the algorithms. And again, please, please, please tell your friends about it. I know you might secretly like the show, and it could be like your addiction podcast that you don't want to tell anybody about. But if you are proud of the show, please tell your friends, family, whatnot about it. We've got summer coming up. Listening to the show, you're at the pool, having a beverage. What else could be better than that? So you want to tell your friends about that so they can also enjoy it. That would be great. Also, just if you have some extra time, go over to YouTube, find us somehow through the gobbledygook. Just type in SFP Radio, subscribe, turn off notifications, and that would help us move up in the algorithms as well. If you're staying at home and you want to do your own podcast, because why not? Because everybody else is. Right. I went through the drive-thru the other day at Hardee's. Got my little sausage biscuit. The guy said, "Thanks for coming to Hardee's and listen to my podcast." I was like, "Oh boy, everybody's got one these days." But if you need somebody to edit it, producer Brian will do that. Shoot him an email at headlines@SFP Radio. Audio, video. What's that? What's that app?
You can pay me to talk to you. You want to do that? That'll work too.
The OnlyFans. Do you edit the OnlyFans accounts?
I don't judge, man.
Maybe we need an OnlyFans subscription.
There we go.
Right.
You make a lot of money with
that. Shoot up producer Brian at headlines@SFP Radio. If you'd like to be a show sponsor and get your name called out at the beginning of the show and throughout the show, we would appreciate that. Email me at sfpradio@gmail.com. Want to say shout out to our listeners from old Massachusetts. Boy, that's a long state name.
But it's a tiny state. That's what's really funny. Like you can drive the whole thing in 2 hours. It's like the longest named
imagine,
state, but probably
yeah. I can't
like
imagine
2.5.
going from state for 2.5 hours. You can still be in North Carolina and be in 2.5 hours.
That's like 10 hours across the state if you go from the like the Outer Banks, you know, all the way to the Tennessee border. It takes forever.
Yeah.
I spent some time in Massachusetts a long time ago, and we were staying in like it was fall before the ski slopes open. We had like a timeshare, but we drove to Boston twice in that time period from like for a day trip because it was only like a 2 hour ride in the morning.
Wow.
And it was nothing to go to Boston from the mountains of Massachusetts.
Goodness.
Anyway.
Well, there you go. Listeners from Massachusetts, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask you like I ask you guys every week. Magic Man, how you be darn?
I be doing good, and we're actually getting some chats from folks listening to us on Twitch. And I don't think these are people that are normal listeners. So
What up,
yes, we
Twitch?
like fried food. That's the question. Yes. How'd you guess?
How you doing, Twitchies? What do you call Twitchers? Do you call them tweakers?
I think that was it, maybe.
Twitchers? I'd be interested to know.
Twitcheroos.
Well, good. I'm glad Magic Man is finding his people on the Twitch. Producer Brian, how you be doing?
I'm good. You know, I feel like it's been a while since I've been on the show, but it's only been.
It's
if
been
you're
like
just
2 weeks,
listening
right?
in order, it's been no time because nothing got recorded last week.
Yeah.
I did a little beach vacation, right? So 2 weeks ago, was it 2 weeks ago? Last episode, how's that? Last episode, we had a guest on, David Page, producer of the first half of, first 10 seasons or so of
11 seasons,
Diners, 11 Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives. Wrote a book, Food Americana, a great book. I read about half of it. I was on vacation at the beach. Read a chapter on. Basically, I read the barbecue chapter. Remember that one, and the fried chicken chapter and the Mexican American. It was really interesting, but it inspired me to try some local restaurants while I was at the beach, right? So it was like a Thursday night. We were already planning on ordering out. So I DoorDashed. There was 2 barbecue places on DoorDash that were close by. And one of them was like number 2 on every single list that I looked at. So I didn't order from them.
Oh.
Because there was the variety. They had pulled pork, like sandwiches, and that's about it, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I'd like to have a little more variety. I want some different sides. The other restaurant had like all the things. Ribs, brisket, you name it.
All right.
So I got ribs and pulled pork and like Brunswick stew and I ate well from a quantity standpoint. But it might be the worst barbecue I've ever had in my entire life.
Whoa.
So I was a little disappointed.
Yes. And this place was not recommended by David Page, just to be clear.
No, this is no affiliation. He inspired me to go eat local while I was out of town, as you do, and then I was thoroughly disappointed. So no sauce on the ribs, like it wasn't rib, they weren't seasoned, there was no rubs. The membrane was still on there. It was just like,
oh, that's trash, man.
It just, it wasn't appropriate to be sold to people, as far as I'm concerned. But
I will say, you read that book and you get hungry because it talks about all the different foods. And you're like, man, that sounds good. No, that sounds good. No, that sounds good.
Yeah, the next chapter is the wing chapter, so I'm going to wait till it's like 50-cent wings somewhere before I read that, so I don't spend too much money.
That's a good call. Yeah, that's a good call. What on your wings, do you prefer the flats or the drumsticks?
I don't typically discriminate too much, but the flats are preferred for me.
Magic
so I can
Man?
get more meat off of them.
I'm sorry, I'm having some fascinating conversations here with some folks listening into us.
All right. Well,
we actually have one guy who's listening to us from Twitch or watching us from Twitch. He's from Germany.
What?
And he says he's really interested in American culture.
Well, buddy, you're in the right place.
Yeah. And then we have another guy or another person from Juanland. I said, where's that near?
Wow.
Yeah. Lee Short says, oh no, I'm sorry for the bad barbecue.
Hungry. Oh, wow.
Hungry.
Speaking of hungry, that's the other thing we like.
Wow.
Okay. What time is it?
Mobile autocorrect. It's hungry.
It's, we're on the East Coast. It's almost 8 o'clock. Germany, Hungary, if I get my world geography right, they're at least 6-7 hours ahead of us, right?
Yeah.
What you guys need to go to bed. It's too late, right?
No, we want them to listen. Listen,
it's
guys.
1:40 a.m.
Downloads. Yeah. Did you look at that?
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah. 1:40 a.m.
Man.
You Twitchers, man. You tweakers. I'm telling you what, you're doing great. Stay up with us. We appreciate it.
Yep. And we talk about Southern culture. So, hey, you want to learn something? Stick around. We'll learn you something.
We'll learn you something. Hey, you Twitchers, again, if you didn't get it at the beginning, make sure you go to, find us on your podcast aggregate and subscribe. We would really appreciate that. And then you can go to southernfriedphilosophy.com and you can listen to the episodes there. But please make sure you rate, review, subscribe, and all of our socials. That would be great. So, Producer Brian, didn't you also have a beer you wanted to review?
Yeah, so on the bright side, a couple weeks ago, the folks at Red Hill Brewing released their Yabba Dabba Brew, which is a hazy IPA infused with I believe the advertising says fruity rice cereal.
Right, you can't.
It's trademarks and copyright and all that. But I saw the pictures; it was Fruity Pebbles, like the real thing, the big bags of Fruity Pebbles. So I'm a big fan of the Fruity Pebbles, as you may or may not know. Mm-hmm. So I needed to have that. So I made arrangements, got a 4-pack, and it's one of those beers you think like either it sounds interesting or it sounds disgusting, right?
Right.
On face value, but I really liked it.
Nice.
I was talking to Chris about last night, and maybe I was doing it wrong, but it's a pint can, so 16 ounces. The first 15 ounces are really good.
Okay.
But it's an unfiltered beer, so the last ounce is all hops.
Oh, okay.
And so I learned pretty quickly so you need to pour it in a cold glass. It needs to be cold. I really liked it. It's fruit. It was just good, really a refreshing beer. But that last ounce is like just eating red pepper flakes.
Ooh.
It's like, what's hot?
That's not a good experience.
Yeah, it's not a great way to finish. So I don't take the whole can back when you're done. Might get a rude awakening.
Swirl it around, keep it mixed up. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll pick it up before I'll just kind of do the can up and down just so it kind of moves around a bit more. So,
but next month on Red Hill, they're having the Cocoa Puffs or they're using Cocoa Puffs in their porter. So that should be interesting as well.
That does sound good.
All right, so let's go to our Southern phrase of the week, which is till the cows come home. You guys have heard this before. Sit back because this could take all day. Cows, and including myself, are not known for their speed. They usually meander about until feeding time. A Southerner knows that if you're going to talk about something till the cows come home, it's going to take all day. So phrase might be, they will be arguing about this until the cows come home. You guys have heard that before, I'm sure, living in the South, till the cows come home.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I think, Producer Brian, you said our guest was in the waiting room. Do we want to bring her on?
Yeah, we can do it.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. I'm going to apologize ahead of time if you hear dogs barking, kids screaming. My house is full, so.
I quite understand that. I'm the exact opposite. My wife and little one are gone they've been gone since Saturday.
Oh, wow. So
it's been the exact opposite. It's been so quiet. It scares me at night. I'm like, what's going on? Because it's way too quiet. The first time I've ever done the show with my office door open. So, it's very quiet.
I was just listening to you guys on my phone in the kitchen. And I was like, I'm in the waiting room. Let me go back. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it was cool. I love that you guys were I'm Genevieve, by the way. So I know it's hard to pronounce, but Jenny, if you can't say Genevieve. But yeah, I'm excited to be here. And you guys were talking about Massachusetts. I was born there, lived many places in Massachusetts. So if you hear my husband, he has a Bostonian accent, but mine is more, I say, proper.
Yeah, you don't say the ka, right?
No, I mean, when I get around my people, it comes out, but...
And that's so funny because like when my wife's from South Georgia and she has a Southern accent, but I can always tell when she's with like her sister or her mom, because at that point it really starts getting dragged out. And I'm like, oh, like you've been around your people. And when you're around your people, that accent comes back pretty quick, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I grew up in a very, lots of different cultures where I grew up. It was called Lawrence, Massachusetts. Well, it is still called Lawrence, Massachusetts. And a lot of the population that lived around me was Hispanic. So my accent becomes Bostonian Hispanic.
That's awesome.
The rolling of the tongue.
I kind of want to hear that.
Very cool. Genevieve, do you want to hang out with us, or and we can do the rest of our stuff, or
yeah, I'll sit back and watch, and yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, gentlemen, we've got a couple of stories that we'd like to kind of touch base on. So here's our topics for tonight: the North Carolina lottery. Producer Brian has some dad jokes.
You know it.
I want to discuss yard sales. A man gets hit by a stray bullet. North Carolina has excess revenue in human organic composting. Human organic composting. Which one do you want to start off with tonight?
I want to hear some dad jokes. Sorry, I know this is not my show.
All right, let's go with the dad jokes.
That's great.
It's perfect.
Hey, we weren't getting anywhere, so you got us going. So that's good.
That's all right. Well, this weekend is Father's Day as we record this. So I figure what better way to celebrate fatherhood than dad jokes, right?
Absolutely. I love dad jokes way more than I should.
Great idea.
I've got 145 here ready to go.
Okay.
So I don't know what my time limit is, but we're going to kick through some of these.
Not all 145.
At some point, you just kick me off the meeting.
Give me the best 10.
Yeah. 10? I don't know the best 10. We'll go through a few of these, though.
Okay.
Let's see. My wife said I should do lunges to stay in shape. That would be a big step forward.
I love that.
Yeah. So what do you call a fish wearing a bow tie?
Ooh.
Sophisticated.
Oh, sophisticated.
How do you follow Will Smith in the snow? This one's for Biggun.
Oh, no. You know I love Will Smith.
I know.
Ooh. I don't know, man.
You follow the Fresh Prince.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
These are the core. Yeah. If April showers bring May flowers, what do May flowers bring?
May allergies.
Pilgrims.
Pilgrims.
Mayflower, like the boat. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What did the ocean say to the beach?
I don't know.
Nothing. It just waved. I only know 25 letters of the alphabet. I don't know why. Let's see. Let's see.
These are cute.
She got it.
A little bit. Okay.
Where do fruits go on vacation?
I don't know.
Paris. That one's pretty terrible.
I don't get that one.
Pear.
Oh,
Yes, pear.
pear.
Like the fruits, a pear.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
What's the best thing about Switzerland? Our international friends. I don't know, but the flag is a big plus. Let's see. Let me scroll through. There's different categories here. These things.
Okay. Do we have any food categories besides the pear one?
Here's some one-liners. Let's see. When two vegans get in an argument, is it still called a beef?
What? If two what gets in an argument?
If two vegans get in an argument,
Vegans.
is it still called a beef?
Oh.
Yeah.
I heard biggins. That's what I heard too.
I heard biggins.
Yeah. Oh, two big. Yeah. I ordered a chicken and an egg from Amazon. I'll let you know.
Gosh.
Which comes first? Which,
Sure. Yeah, I got you.
chicken. Yeah. That car looks nice, but the muffler seems exhausted. Can't. There's so many here.
All right, give me the last one.
Let me find one really good one if I can find. I didn't read all these earlier, but
yeah, clearly
there was some
somebody
fun ones. I
didn't
didn't have that kind of. Who has that kind of time, right? What's brown and sticky?
I could tell you, but this is a family show,
Ooh.
so
I could go a bunch of different ways there. Yeah.
A stick.
what is it? What is it?
It's a stick. A stick.
A stick.
Stick. Yeah.
Oh, got you.
Right.
A sticky.
Yeah. What do you call two monkeys that share an Amazon account? Last one.
Ooh, I don't know.
They're primates. Yeah. Anyway,
I'm
I'm done.
Thank you. You'll be here all night. Be
Yep.
sure to tip your waitress. So the last show we talked about the West Virginia lottery, their vaccine lottery, and then all of a sudden, and we gave Governor Roy Cooper some of our ideas of what would be a great lottery for North Carolina. He did not listen to any of our suggestions, but ladies and gentlemen, if you have gotten your vaccination, you're now entered to win a $1 million prize, and there will be 4 drawings coming out. So, I mean, I guess Ohio, they were the first, but it seems like all these states now are doing the vaccination lotteries.
Well, it was so successful because the percentages jumped up so high,
Yeah,
right?
It really,
Ohio. So
yeah. But we're only giving $4 million away. What in the world? Why are we? I feel like we could do better.
yeah,
4.
sure.
And I'll kind of bleed that into, so North Carolina, because of everybody coming back and things are rolling again, it shows that in 2 years we're going to have a $6.5 billion excess of money for the state. $6.5 billion with a B excess of money coming in. So, y'all, that's a lot of money. And so right now they're figuring out, well, what do we do with it? So do we lower taxes? Do we give it back? I don't know, man, but that seems
pay
like
state employees more.
That might be a good option.
It's a teacher shortage because it sucks to be a teacher. So why don't you, throw some dollars that way, right?
Yep.
Fix the roads
Genevieve, I'm
and
sure.
widen them where these developers keep building.
That's true.
Yeah.
Genevieve, I'm sure you would say help with the foster care system and help increase that, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I can throw out statistics, but we have 428,000 in the United States, kids in foster care. So
Wow.
over 100,000 are waiting for homes, to be adopted. They're going. But we have so many foster kids, especially teenagers in our state right now. People are getting puppies during the pandemic and buying new cars and all this. But we have these kids literally sleeping in the office,
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, I can talk more about that after, but yes, I agree. It can go more toward housing these children.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things that we could do with it, but they tax us relentlessly here in North Carolina. But yeah, I thought $6.5 billion over the next 2 years. That is a swollen amount of cash coming in. So,
do you notice how expensive groceries are too right now?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. It's gonna come. I mean, everybody's getting there, and I don't want to be political, but I mean, we're getting all of our cash money coming in, but things are going to start really inflating to the moon.
Yeah,
so.
We're already seeing inflation.
Yeah.
That's why I just got rid of my Suburban and I got a car that's way better on gas because I'm like, I can't afford this gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking about having a bad day, there's a North Carolina man that was just having dinner in Greensboro, and he was just eating dinner at the Sheffield Country Club, mind you, and on Tuesday evening, and evidently a stray bullet came and it hit him in the head. Just a stray bullet, just eating, just boom, popped him in the head. He said that it was just a superficial wound on the top of the head, minor injuries. He declined to be treated by the medics. But ladies and gentlemen, if you are firing your weapon up in the air, that bullet has got to come down at some point. So please make sure you know where that bullet will land, and hopefully not in some guy's head at the country club while he's eating dinner. So, goodness, y'all.
That's insane.
Lucky for him, though. It could have been a whole lot worse. Do you guys do yard sales? Okay. Genevieve says yes.
Oh, I love yard sales. Everything around me is from a yard sale, including this couch. So, I love yard sales. The chair this is on is from a yard sale. Like, I love everything about yard sales.
So there's garage sales, which I'm assuming, like, those are garage sales, like, are in an actual garage. And then you have yards. No. What are you saying, Producer Brian?
I think yard sales and garage sales, to me, it's like, is it a submarine or a grinder sandwich? Is it like, it's regional is the way I look at it. I think folks from maybe a little farther north may be more inclined to call it a garage sale. Maybe not, but in my experience, that's what I've heard. But here's we didn't have a garage. And I have a garage now, but we don't let people walk in my garage. Because I'm not selling anything in my garage. You can't have anything out of my garage. So,
well, when I was growing up, I would go out with my dad a lot, and they would be in the garage. Like, anything they would set up in the garage. And so that's why I thought that's probably why they call it a garage sale. And then when it overflowed out into the yard, I thought that was the yard sale. And then we were selling everything except the house. That was the estate sale. So that's how I put it together. But it's
the estate sale is like after, that's like cleaning the house after your grandma dies or something, right? I mean, you sell everything in the house that after you divvied up the good china or whatever.
Yeah. I always feel sad about that. Like,
yes. Yeah. Usually auctions involved, but
yeah. Well, it's that time of year where I'm going down the street and I see yard sale, yard sale, yard sale. I didn't know if you guys go to yard sales. I would love to get up and go to a yard sale, but small batch is not old enough. I don't want to get her and then get her in and out and all that kind of stuff.
Like the serious yard sale people get up. They're like, insane. You're still setting your table up and they're on your top of you, like trying to get whatever your spatulas you're selling or whatever. I don't know. But
I remember doing yard sales with my parents growing up a couple times when we moved. And, we would say it starts at 7. We'd be out there at 6 o'clock setting up, and people are already pulling up to our driveway wanting to know if we had anything out yet. I mean, they're hardcore. Yeah, absolutely.
It's good stuff.
We're down in downtown Concord, and they have the historic yard sale down on Union. And man, it's a festival down there. It's like a parade because people think, all the rich people are getting rid of all their stuff. And you go down there and they're just massive lines and people just walking up. I mean, it looks like an IKEA, store with people carrying their big bags and everything else. It's nuts. So it gets
crazy
this time of year.
With yard sales is the haggling. Like, I've got this something out there for like $5, right? Why are you trying to negotiate off of, like, down to 50 cents off of my $5 whatever my
because it's
salad
supposed to
bowl
be 10%
or whatever
of what it's worth brand new. That's why. That's how it goes. That's
there's a rule.
There is a rule.
I just went. This is $1. This is $5. This is
10%, 10 to 20.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, wow. Unless it's like never been used.
That's made up. I don't know about
that. So the rule is like when you're at a garage sale, whatever you're selling is 10 to 20% off of what it is new, even though it's been used?
Not off, 10 to 20% of the original price.
Oh, the value of it. Okay. Huh. Maybe that's why, we need to work on our negotiating skills then.
I think some people just try to negotiate everything. So that's
no, that's true.
And if you bring kids with you, I mean, usually they end up giving you some stuff away for free. So But we've had
that would be a great plug.
Yeah,
that'd be a great plug for adoption.
Yes.
Bring a kid with you.
Yes.
Get discounts off garage sales.
Foster, come on. We actually do have incentives that we're starting to do. It's, and I feel bad, but I think it's great that we have this access now. It's $150 incentives if you sign up to foster. And I was like, how do I even come across and offer that? But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I don't think this human organic composting is going to work for tonight's show. So we're going to, we'll talk about that next week, because I do want to get into this whole story of Genevieve and how it happened. Okay. So producer Brian, can you load the music?
And now our feature presentation.
All right. So we have got with us, Genevieve, and is Traversy, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Is that okay? Nailed it. Yes.
Wow.
And you are with Lutheran Services of Carolina. Mm-hmm. I came across your story on the Independent Tribune newspaper, the local newspaper here in Concord, and it talked about you growing up as a foster child, and then your journey through that, and then what you're doing now as a foster mom and adopted mom, and then as a person that helps facilitate other people becoming foster parents. So can you just go through your story, tell us about how this came to be?
So I was born in Massachusetts, so lived in Massachusetts, and I entered into foster care at 3 years old. At the time, my father had left for another woman. I had 2 older brothers, and they went to go live with my uncle and my aunt. And my mom couldn't take care of me. She became homeless, addicted. And so I entered into foster care at the age of 3. So from the age of 3 to 18, I had 16 different homes. So, the last home.
And that's 1/6, is that right?
1/6, yeah. Not 60, but Goodness. 16. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But still, that's a massive amount of homes.
It is. And, I always wondered, would I ever be adopted? I always wondered, is this the final home? Is this the final destination? But unfortunately, at 18, I signed myself out. So that's what happens when you age out. You sign yourself out. Now they have a lot better opportunities and more independent living opportunities for children who age out. But unfortunately, the homeless rate is still over 50% for those that age out of the system.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Huh. So I was 11. Yeah, I was 11 when my last foster home in Massachusetts. I then went over state lines to New Hampshire. You can drive Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine, all in an hour and a half. You guys are right. You guys were talking about that earlier. You can drive the whole state. Yes, you can be in the mountains. And that's why when we moved here, everyone's like, oh, we have the mountains and the ocean. I'm like, we did too, but we could do it within an hour. But yes. So I went to New Hampshire, and then I stayed in New Hampshire until I was 18. Until actually I moved here to North Carolina. But yes, foster care definitely is a passion of mine. Of course, I lived it. And then after I graduated high school, which first in the family, I went on to get my 2 associates, one in psychology, one in human services, and then my bachelor's in individual and group counseling. And then I went on for my master's, but I had my internship left still to complete that. So during my bachelor's degree, we had to do a final project. And for the final project, I took it a little too far because I kind of tend to go big or go home. Because I feel like, what's the point of doing anything in life if you're not going to, So I started a nonprofit for my project, and it was called Lean on Us. And we did is we got foster kids together every month, and took them places, because when you're in foster care, lots of times you don't get to go to places. Like I remember one of my foster homes, they went to Disney World and I had to go to respite care, which means short term.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
And I still have never gone to Disney. So one day.
What?
I know. But
listen, if we had money in our bank account, we would send you and your family, but we can't do that. We don't have that much money. But I would if I could. That would be awesome.
It's gonna happen one day, and it's gonna be like amazing. So our youngest is 4. I'll get to her in a moment, and my oldest is 22. So none of my kids have ever gone. So
okay.
So I started a nonprofit, and I wanted them to have the opportunity to do that. So we would do fundraisers and all these kinds of different raffles. And I learned how to beg for money for charity to do all this stuff with them, because I was like, I don't want this ever coming out of a foster parent's pocket. So we did like hay rides and, pumpkin picking and barbecues at the lake, just different things. And so we got just to be this like really tight knit family. And so that was part of my healing process of, okay, I went through this stuff and now I'm able to help others. So when we moved south, I opened up a dance studio, because fitness and dance is also a passion of mine. And even though what's funny is, and all that, I always self-taught myself dance. I was in dance on and off, but I was never in a place long enough. My mom actually tried to put me in dance for a little bit as a young girl. And I remember her and my aunts would sit on the side and just make fun of, they would call me Double Bubble, which, cause I was always the bigger girl on the backside of the class, because they were all these little, So I opened up a dance studio, and the whole purpose of me doing that was just to have donation, or I started charging like $5 a class if they could, just to help with snacks or whatever, the rent for the place. But we would have children, low income, disabilities, foster kids got to come for free. So I wanted it to be for those who felt like they were outcast. So when this new position arose not last December, the December before, so a year and a half, right before the pandemic, I saw a position open for foster care recruiter. And I was like, oh, it just like really jumped out at me. And so I applied and I got it. And I felt torn, because I knew I couldn't work full time and do that and raise my children and be a wife. And so, so I let my studio go, but we're still in contact. But now I am a foster care recruiter for Lutheran Family Services, where I get to now find families and be that first person they meet to then do their foster parent into adoption. So it's amazing. I mean, it started in the beginning of COVID. It's been a little, you have to be creative, and obviously living in a time we have internet and all, so that's helped. But now I get to go full on, like tomorrow night, I get to go to a High Times game and get to set up there. So it's cool, because now I get to go out, and today I got to go to Wet and Wild and I don't know if you know what it is in Greensboro. So to get them to help set up with an event and hang the flyers and stuff there. So I love being able to be that voice and just educate people on how much it's needed, not to make anyone feel bad or guilty, but to really just educate them that there's so many children out there that just need a home, even if it's just for a week. You can be that respite for the week. That's what we do right now, because we have a lot of.
Okay.
We fostered our youngest. It started 2.5 years ago, and we adopted her October in 2019. She was the one in the beginning. I don't know if you saw her peek.
Yeah.
So,
Producer Brian, did you have a question?
Well, I was just saying, if you're recruiting in these places, you just need to get them to send you to Disney World to recruit down there, right?
Unfortunately, I only cover the triad. Even like your area, we have recruiters in Concord and Concord up north, Concord and Charlotte. But that would be a different area. But yes, I would love to go to Disney and just be like, oh yeah.
There's people from the triad at Disney World.
I think of that like when missionaries go to Hawaii to be missionaries. I'm like,
I see you.
Yeah, right.
Can you give us just, our show evidently per Twitch is global, but in North Carolina, like what are the numbers that we're looking at for children? Ballpark.
All right. So the last I saw, it could change, but this was 2 months ago that I checked on it, but I believe it was 44,000.
Wow.
So yeah, it's up there. It was pretty high. And right now it's more, I would say it's like over 60% is teenagers right now, where it used to be only newborn, like not only, but like 70% was newborn because of the, kids being born with parents using. So, that's still an epidemic that's going on, but, the youth, because of the group homes that are closing, or the youth, teenagers that are being raised by grandparents that can't handle them being home all day now, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Yeah. So, or the runaways, or they become depressed and in the hospital and, need therapeutic care. There's different levels of foster care. So, but yeah, it's definitely a lot of kids in the system right now. And
I'm sure that's going to even compound more, I think, with COVID.
Oh yeah.
And during COVID.
It was kind of weird at first though, because it was quiet at first. And we're like, where are all the kids? Well, when school went back, even just part-time, that's when we got flooded because no one was reporting the abuse. So, yeah.
And I don't know, part of the reason why I have you on the show, one, you have an incredible story, and I love that. And we love like championing, people, especially underdogs that have, come through and said, I've done this and, and now I'm doing this. But also I'm a foster dad too. And so I've got a little one I'm trying to adopt at this point. So fostering is huge for me. And even next month we're doing respite, we need a break. And so we're the wife and I are getting away and we're using respite. So, it's near and dear to my heart. So I want to highlight fostering and the importance of that. And I know these guys get tired of me talking about it, but it's just such a need for that. And there's always that. But here's what I really want to get the point across is, even if you don't feel like you want to go through the foster system and become foster parents, which I kind of want to talk about the process here, but you could do a whole bunch of other things. Even in your article, you're mentioning, you could just donate some things. You could donate some time and things. What are some things that people that don't have to go through all the paperwork can do to help the foster care kids and the parents and the whole system?
Yeah. So, donating time, like you just said. For instance, I am recruiting my kids tomorrow to help me at the game because I don't have anyone to help me bring my tables and my flyers and my posters and everything I need. And we got a bunch of little baseball squishy balls to hand out, and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, you want to help, but you can't foster right now and it's not feasible. Come help me, advocate, come help me tell people that, there's options here. So that's one that you can do. Hang up my flyers at your business, local businesses. I'm in Lexington, but the Triad is what I cover. And we just in Lexington alone in Thomasville, like they have amazing small businesses that are like, yeah, let's do this. Put your flyers, put your pamphlets. I'll talk to people. I'm like, that's amazing. So, I just need more businesses to do that. It's harder to get, obviously franchises and the bigger people to agree to do that. Invite me to your church, invite me to your cookout, say, come talk, invite me to whatever you're involved in, right here on your podcast. Then let me tell you how to do this. So, and then if you want to donate physical things, I never ask for people to donate money. Gift cards are great. Like, it's a long story. I know we don't have all the time, but this past Christmas.
No, we love stories.
Well, this past Christmas, we're a nonprofit. So DSS is not a nonprofit, but we still get government funded for the foster parents. But we pay them a stipend every month, to foster. And it's different with different levels and different ages. So if you're a therapeutic foster parent, you get paid a lot more than if you're a foster parent a child doesn't have any special needs. So they get paid, but it's not a lot. It's not like, so for Christmases, of course, we want to help them, and for birthdays or whatever. So we usually have churches that will help us, with these kids. Like, I'm sure you've heard of Angel Tree and stuff like that. We have a system like that. But this year, no lie, it was 3 days before Christmas. We kept trying to get a hold of these places the church that was supposed to help, and they couldn't because their numbers were so low and they didn't have the funding. And so my supervisor and I were going, okay, what do we do? So we were just going to use our own money and say, okay, we'll just not get expensive stuff. Like, we're not going to buy a kid an Xbox, but maybe we can buy a couple shirts, or whatever they need. So I just put out there on Facebook, like, where can I shop locally that is, not expensive? And, people are telling me all these bargain stores and stuff. No yard sales during Christmas time. So one of the ladies that I worked with the foster kids up north when I did my nonprofit, she private messaged me and she's like, hey, how many kids are there? What do they need? Da, da, da. And I was like, we have this many. And why are you asking? So she had a contact that donated $250 per child for Target.
Oh, wow.
And of course, we're not going to just give a kid a $250 gift card. So we got to be out 2 days before Christmas and go shopping. And we had 5, you guys call them buggies, I call them shopping carts, 5 carts full of toys and clothes and shoes. And it was amazing. So I have pictures of that. And it was just such a blessing just to be a part of that. And we got to even make baskets for all the foster parents with the remaining.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
That's really cool.
So it's stuff like that. We can always use stuff like that because, that was last minute. And by the grace of God, we were able to do that. And then another thing is backpacks. Kids tend to come into care with a trash bag or even a Walmart bag or a Food Line, whatever they can grab real quick, because it's not like, okay, honey, you have time to do all this. No, you need to go. So a backpack is much better for a child to be able to transport their stuff. I remember in foster care, I would never even unpack I had a big black trash bag in the corner of my room. I would never unpack it because that was like my dresser. Like, I just lived out of that bag because I didn't know, is this home going to be a week, 2 weeks, a few months? Like, what is it going to be? So, yeah.
Yeah. And people don't understand, some of these kids, they come home from school or they even get picked up at school.
Right.
And they don't have any option. And so they're just, carrying around this garbage bag. And how do you think that makes the kid feel? I mean, you obviously know like the damage that does. Yes, exactly. And so one of the things that we made sure our foster kids have are suitcases, and, make sure that they have that so that they feel like that this is part of them and that they're not garbage, and that they're more than that. So, that just stuff like that is huge.
Yeah. So that's what I ask for people to do, get educated. Don't just think that these kids are all going just to be messed up for the rest of their lives. Trauma, it affects in different ways. And yes, it comes out in different ways too. But I can't tell you details because of, privacy, but like there's one child right now that is not the same child that they were when a few months ago, because of love, because someone invested in them and just didn't treat them as though they were to be pushed off to the side. So, and bring them to Disney. Like if they want to go to Disney with you, that's what I always encourage. Like, if you do foster, just make them feel a part of your family, not like someone else. So.
And I think recently the state law has changed for foster care, and recently within like the past 5 years, where it's not mandated, but it allows you to have way more freedom to treat that kid like it's your own kid, so that you can take them to Disney and not have to go through all this red tape, or get them outside of the state for 72 hours and not have to, get all these checks and balances and whatnot and all this paperwork signed out and stuff. Right. It allows you to have way more freedom to treat that kid like he's your kid. And so that's been huge for us. One thing I also want to point out is you mentioned like the foster parents get paid for having a foster kid. Mm-hmm. Guys, it's not that much. So people think, oh, they're just doing it for the money. There could be, families that are doing it, but at the end of the day, it's not enough to try to get a full-time job off of it. So just from personal experience, you can't make a job out of that. And right. I know some people probably have, it's very few that happens with. So
yeah, it's true. And, we have a lot of teen parents. And I was one. I became pregnant at 15, and I said that in my article that you read. And so they come with a child too, but you don't get paid for their child. You get paid for them, but lots of times you end up helping with their baby and that cost as well. So stuff like that doesn't get allotted. When I was a teen mom, I never asked. I worked 3 jobs in high school, so I was always, which, I was like, how did I guess teenagers don't need sleep because I never slept in high school, but yeah, I wanted to break the cycle. So I just made sure that I wasn't going to go on welfare and, try to just continue. Like drugs have never, I tried the green stuff and it does the opposite for me. I think it's because my mom did speed when she was pregnant with me, but like I'm naturally hyper, and I just, everyone at weddings are like, dude, to my husband, how much did your wife drink? And he's like, no, she's naturally like that. She just, so yeah. So I just always tell people, trust me, there's no issues there. But so I wanted to make that point that there's a lot of teen foster children. And it's because they're looking for love. Like in the end result, if someone's going to give you attention and it's not from your biological parents, then you search other places. So
it never occurred to me like teen moms in foster care, like that. This kind of blew my. I think about like teenagers for whatever reason being in the system, but not. That's just an extra compound kind of thing.
Right. And it's really hard because as a foster mom, so we had one for respite, and we have a beautiful relationship now with them. And I am just so glad that I had that opportunity to share with them what happened to me. And now we still have that relationship. And just to have gone through it, I could know how to react to her, but to never have gone through that, it's hard to relate, and how to not parent their baby too and parent them. You know what I mean? Allow them to try to do it is the hard part. So,
yeah. So if somebody is interested in fostering, what's the process for them to go through?
So contact me, or in your area, I would just point them to the Charlotte Recruiter. And there's classes, I would say quarterly, because our classes are 10 weeks. And our classes just ended, or they're about to end this week, and they're going to start back in August. So we have like July off to finish their paperwork and get them licensed. So it's 10 weeks, 2 classes a week. We usually do a Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. That we just finished up our last Zoom. So we're actually going to be in person again. Yay!
Nice.
But at the same time, it was so convenient for people to do their classes online.
Right.
People were in their bed in their pajamas, and I'm like, okay, nobody wants to do that. But I mean, you see it at Walmart, so So yeah, we 10 classes. Sorry, my kids are waving at me, asking to bake croissants. They must know you guys talk about food a lot.
Yeah, just a little bit longer, and then we can get those croissants out there for you.
So the 10 weeks of classes, we do the application together beforehand. We meet, sit down.
Okay.
I do the not a complete background check, but like a background check of, okay, do I think this person is, fit to even go further to start the classes? Do they look like they're financially stable? You don't have to be rich, just enough to, do they look like they need therapy themselves beforehand? Do they have, I don't know, did they just get out of jail last week, or, stuff like that. So they go through me for that. And then the classes. And then after the classes, you do the home study. Some people call them different names, but it's where you sit down in the home and you go over your life story. And then you get your fire inspection, make sure the home is safe. And then send off all your paperwork, lots of documents. You got to get your physical and everything like that. And it sounds like a lot, and there is a lot of paperwork, but the whole process is between 3 and 9 months. I used to say 3 and 6 months, but because of COVID, it pushed it back a little. So yeah. And then our station is in Black Mountain, and they license and send it back. Charlotte would probably be in Charlotte. So that would be a little quicker. Then you license. Yeah. Oh, background check too, fingerprints and everything. So in between.
Yeah. It is a lot. I mean, you've got to want to do it to make that happen.
It,
So, oh yeah, it's quite a lot. Yeah. Is there any questions from you guys or in the chat or anything that we need to talk about?
No questions from the chat.
I think Brian's still thinking about food.
No,
now
these conversations, like every time I'm like, I wish I had more resources. To give or to whatever it is, time. Anytime I hear these stories like this, I'm just like, what do you want? What do I have? Like, just take it.
Yeah. I mean, I know you guys are in a different area, but you definitely, if you know of local businesses that are willing to put things up, you could let me know. You could, send people my way. I think you have my info, right? Okay.
Yep. And we'll have all that information on the website. Yeah. And on our show notes.
Right. Yep. And I am not throwing this in for me, but because I feel that way, even as a recruiter, like I get it. Like I want to do more. And not even, I wish I could foster like long-term right now, but I love write-ins. And I don't get a lot of time to do it, but when I do, I do it. And I'm a part of this writing group. And anyways, I went to a conference last week on writing, and I really feel like I was an amateur, but the publishers said they want my proposal, which is huge. And I haven't even announced this to like a lot of my friends yet. So if they're watching this later, because a lot of them are like, I'm going to catch it later. But yeah, so I'm excited because it's going to be devotions for foster kids and their foster parent. And it's going to have a devotional part and then like a physical workout part with it. But it's also going, for everyone I sell, I'm whatever. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm going to give it away for free for the foster family. So I'm super excited. So when that comes out, y'all can help promote that too, because
absolutely.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
Yeah. I'm excited about that.
Yeah. We'll have you back on and you can promote that as well. And,
awesome.
And we'll talk about that then.
Yeah. So it's the day after my birthday, August 1st, they want my proposal, which is diversity.
Nice.
So I'm having it critiqued on Saturday, which is 2 days? Yeah. In 2 days. So.
Wow. Holy cow.
Yeah. So I'm super excited about that. So that's another thing. Like, so I try to be creative on how I can help, what I can do. But for me, it's just part of my healing. You know, I know if people have gone through other things, you know, they are able to use that, you know, so.
Yeah, it's amazing just going through the training and then just doing my own digging and whatnot, just what we've learned about trauma and especially in the foster and adoptive world, but just in normal raising children. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
You know, all the statistics and then how we can better cope with, you know, people that have gone through trauma. It's awesome. It really is. It's great.
And you can watch some cool movies. Like, everyone's like, well, how can I know or watch or read, you know, even if I don't want to read a book, can I watch a movie? I'm like Instant Family. That's a great movie to watch. I just watched The Ride. It just came out this year. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm.
It's a true story. And what's his name? John, of course, I forget his name. But he is, he's like a Tony Hawk of bicycles. So he was this champion and he grew up in foster care, was in detention center up until he was a teenager where he was adopted. It's a true story. So it's really cool to see that. Another one I just learned about because the publisher wants me to ask him for the endorsement. And I'm like, Jimmy Wayne, have you ever heard of him? He's from North Carolina. He's the country singer.
Okay.
I think I have,
country singer.
If you listen to his music, you'll be like, oh, yeah. So, because I was like, do I know him? So anyways, I started reading his book last week. And yeah. And of course, the part of his book, he actually seen like in his trauma, he's seen someone get murdered in front of him. And like the murder was so gruesome. And I'm here at the dentist about to get my teeth filled. And I'm like, oh, and like he's coming at me with the thing. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, I'm going to put my book away. Man. So yeah. But Jimmy Wayne, that's another one to really, I've been watching him on Facebook, his daily devotions and stuff. So he's really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. Just to get educated. That's another thing that will help. So.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things you said in your article that you just didn't feel wanted, and just know that you are loved. And I know that you know that, but you are loved and you are wanted. And the kids and people that are listening as well, like you are loved and you are wanted. You may need to hear that today. Is you're not alone. You've got people here. And Genevieve, whatever we could do to help support you and help support Lutheran services, just let us know because we'd love to promote it. We'd love to help. And we're here. And I mean, I'm in Charlotte, but man, I've got some awesome resources here for fostering. We had Foster Village with Becky Santoros on. I don't know if you've heard of Foster Village.
No, I'm going to write
those
that down.
folks are incredible. Yeah, she was on the show earlier, but one of the things I love about them is once they figure out that you're having a foster kid, a placement, they'll show up with a backpack all ready to go, and it's filled with that kid's, pajamas, clothes, toys, everything's ready to go for that kid, and they just drop it off and leave. And they do some really awesome work. So it's Foster Village in Charlotte. So we'll connect with that. There was some really cool stuff that happened around Christmas, and we could talk about that off air. But man, it's whatever we could do to help support. I'm a huge fan of fostering, obviously. So whatever we can do to help, let us know.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's awesome. We have a program called it's not me. It's a nonprofit. They're called IMJ3, and they do the similar things with the backpack, and they do a $100 Walmart card per child that comes into foster care. So I think those are just amazing because those places will help literally their community right there. So
absolutely,
that is so great. Yeah, if
those are the hands and feet of Jesus.
Yeah, like I just we just had a camp called Windshape and in Thomasville, and all the kids were able to go for free. Anyone in foster care, and it's a pricey camp. So I'm looking into that kind of stuff too. So if you know of any, because I'm like, we have the rest of the summer. Like I want to be able to get them to do fun things, And of course, there's the splash pads and the community pools. But so I do a newsletter every month. So if you hear of anything, I'm working on my July newsletter right now. So.
Okay, very cool. I also, lastly, want to celebrate. You had is it a high school student that just graduated?
Yes, valedictorian.
Valedictorian.
Yeah.
Good
That's
job. Way to go.
Wow.
I know. I was like in tears. He was doing the speech, and like this kid busted his butt. Like he was working like 30 hours a week and doing school, and he has a beautiful girlfriend.
Wow.
And he did have you heard of dual enrollment, where you go to school and college?
Yeah.
So he has one more semester left. He actually just walked by.
Tell him we said hi.
He just went in his room. He's 18, athletic. So he did all that and kept up his grades, obviously. But during that time, he got his criminal justice certification. So that's all you need to be a police officer before, the boot camp or whatever, BBLT. Yeah, right. But he's only 18. So what he's going to do, for his next semester, he added EMT classes. So he's going to be an EMT for the next 3 years before. Yeah. So I'm like so proud.
That's cool. Way to go.
Wow. Yeah.
What's his name? Do you want to give him a shout out?
Yeah. Caleb Traversy. So.
Way to go, Caleb.
And my oldest, he's in LA. So,
oh, wow.
I'm proud of him too, because he
is that Lower Alabama?
No, he does not like country. He's in the middle of LA. But he's a music producer, so very proud of him too. So he's almost 22. So that's the one I had very young, and everyone mistakes him as my boyfriend wherever we go. So he gets really embarrassed. He's like, "Mom." I'm like, "I know."
That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, Genevieve, thank you so much for coming on the show. We're going to post all your info on the show notes, but where can people get a hold of you if they need it?
So G Traversy at lscarolinas.net. Not .com, .net, because I got that wrong. I was like, why is this not working? And then I give out my phone number on everything, so I don't know. I mean, are you cool if I give it out there? Because it's on my
if you feel comfortable.
Yeah. So it's I kept my number from up north. That's what I brought back with me. So it's 603 is the area code, 553-5390. So they can reach me there as well. They can call or text. And I get lots of telemarketers anyway, so it doesn't matter. So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, or me. Okay. I don't tweet. I'm not a Twitter, and I'm not a tweaker. So I heard you guys talking about the tweakers earlier.
I was telling producer Brian yesterday, I've gotten addicted to TikTok way more than I should.
I haven't even started that because as a dancer, I could be like, that could be bad for me.
Yeah. It's not good. Like there's so much food.
Oh, it's food that you want.
Like stuff. Yeah.
Have you done any dances on TikTok
because there's some.
What did you say?
Not yet. I can though.
Okay. All right.
I said there's a lot of food and things on that, but at the beginning you got to be careful because the algorithms don't know you yet, and they're just assuming that you want to see stuff.
Right.
So you get a couple days past through that, and you're doing good.
That's why I didn't do it because my kids wanted it in the very, very beginning. I was like, okay, and I was like, oh no, we're not doing this because my son was like, Mom, and I was like, stop looking at that. So yeah, you don't tick for time.
Yeah.
So
there you go. Well, thank you again so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I am so grateful that you are advocating as well and being a foster parent. And hey, guys, you guys can Magic Man and producer Brian, you guys, we can always use you as foster dads if you want. Never too late. I'm a 78-year-old, so I mean, it's literally never too late. Like,
oh wow, very cool. Wow. All right, thank you so much. Have a great night.
As well.
Thank you. Bye. She's got a fantastic story. We'll have the article online, just the stuff that she's gone through.
Incredible story.
Yeah, it's insane.
everything's working against you, and you still like that's that. I don't know. That's a testament to her resolve. You know, after everything she went through, and just determined not to, you know, let it be her whole story. You know.
Yeah, and the story that they have online, it's definitely worth the time you take to read it. Definitely more than worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm struggling with a 2-year-old at 43. Like, I couldn't imagine a newborn at 15. Like, I couldn't even think about that. That'd just be so tough. So,
yeah.
But she did it, man. She's doing it and crushing it. And so, I'm grateful that she was on the show.
Yeah.
All right. You guys seem sad. What's wrong?
It's a heavy topic. You know, it's a heavy topic.
Yeah,
it's a really heavy topic.
Yeah. No, I think
about just, I think a lot of us can get we get self-involved. It's we think about our own world and our own issues, and we forget about the people who aren't in our situation. A lot. It's easy to forget, right? About, you got foster kids, you got homelessness, you got abuse, whatever. You know, there's so many things that are happening in the world. It's easy just to, to kind of ignore it,
Yeah.
So.
And it's easy to feel overwhelmed, like, well, what can I do? So I'm just going to stay siloed and not do anything.
Yeah.
But I do know.
Shock almost, yeah.
Yeah. But, and you don't have to, and I'm not trying to like, oh, look at me, I'm a foster dad. So please, if you're getting that idea, that's not the case. I'm just trying to help use this platform to say, this is a real issue. And so for me, it's like, yeah, I could get, overwhelmed with homelessness and domestic abuse. And I got out of that whole political crap last year, so I'm not even dealing with that anymore. I can't do anything. So, but what can I do here, and what am I passionate about? And I'm not telling you guys, or you or the audience, like to get involved in foster care, but find something that you're passionate about to make the world better, and just do that. Whatever it is, and just slowly but surely, you'll eventually make the world a little bit of a better place. And I remember in Boy Scouts, when we would go somewhere, the whole thing is like, leave the place better than when you left it. And that's my whole deal. Like, I want to leave this world better because I was here. And so if I can do that through fostering or whatever, find your passion and do it.
Yeah. Well said. Well said.
Yep.
All right. Well, gentlemen, it's been fun. It's been real. The wife is coming back on Saturday. So I've got 2 days to clean this mess up at the house. So I should probably get to work on that. There's so much laundry. It's so much laundry. I didn't realize. I underestimated the time it's going to take to do this laundry.
Or did they leave you some? Is that what happened?
They left me some. So like I'm doing my laundry and then like all the other laundry. So
little people laundry's already
little
terrible,
people laundry. So. Big people laundry, bigger people laundry.
You do one load of little people laundry, it takes like 3 hours to put away because there's so many pieces.
Right. Yeah. So, and then I was showing, I hope Jess isn't watching, but I tried to stain our deck. I'll put pictures up on Facebook about, when she gets back, about how horrible it looks. But
you stained it.
Or the back
say
steps.
You stained it.
Oh, I stained it. It's stained. It's 100% stained. It doesn't look good, but it looks like a hot mess. So I got to figure out how to fix that. What was the goal?
You stained the deck. You didn't say you were going to do an expert's job, right? So, I mean,
there you go. It looks like poop, but I stained it. I did my job. Yeah. Yeah. I got to stay in my lane. I can't do anything new. I'm horrible at trying new things. So there's that. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Again, if you're listening from our tweeters, Twitchers, whatever they are, thank you for tuning in.
That's what we'll call them.
What are we calling them?
I'm calling them Twitcheroos.
Twitcheroos. I like that.
Twitcheroos.
Though I kind of want cereal after saying that. So maybe I'll do that.
With marshmallows, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast. And as always, keep looking up.